change it up a little bit for you.
Little drafty car.
Oh yeah, that is Get Free, the Neon Beach remix.
If you know, you know.
The album is Hands Up Buttercup.
I love it. I love it.
Welcome to another episode of the Armchair Crew Chief. My name is Jordan, and I am accompanied by Josh. So, how has it been?
Been good. I got to actually see 2 of the 3 NASCAR races this weekend, so that was good.
Yeah, we missed a little bit of the Cup Series. We did our first ever sports card show on Sunday.
Nice.
And Nathan and I got on local radio.
Well, that's cool.
So it was pretty wild. Went with some friends. They went and saw Cooper DeJean, got his autograph and stuff like that. If you don't know, just go look at the birthday boy who did the pick 6 in the Super Bowl, and you will find out who Cooper DeJean is, the widest looking cornerback in the National Football League. But there is more to talk about than that. We raced at Phoenix. Well, not we, but NASCAR raced at Phoenix this past weekend.
I wish we did.
That would be wild. I'd even just do it.
I'd say it'd be fun, but I'd be scared.
Yeah, it would be kind of scary. Can you imagine it? Let's just go around on go-karts or something like that.
I would do that.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Let's make a mini Phoenix and just do that.
A bunch of Crown Vics, maybe.
Freedom Factor's coming up in 3 weeks, too. Freedom 500. Got a lot more people coming out for that.
Got some big hitters.
Very big hitters.
It's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, that's wild. Deegan wasn't. We already talked about Deegan. Pastrana's coming out. I think a couple other NASCAR-ish people too. They're coming as well. So it's gonna be wild. I think it's April 4th and 5th. So Friday, Saturday is what they run it. It would have been awesome to go down, but
just so much fun.
It's
a pure fun event right there.
Yeah, that's all you could ask for with that. So I'm surprised Cletus doesn't try to get like NASCAR somehow, Wheeling, ARCA, whatever, to come run at his track.
Yeah,
that would be pretty impressive.
Must keep it simple. Just keep it low key and keep it internal and keep it simple and have fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So we ran ARCA Xfinity and Cup Series. And starting off with Xfinity, Bowman got the pole. I don't like when you get the Hendricks guys, not even just Hendrick guys, but like when Busch ran trucks a while back. And how that was. I don't like when you get those guys in there. It kind of defeats the purpose for me for the young guys coming up.
Yep.
So I don't know what to make of it for sure. But
like the fast teams are expected to be on the pole. You know, it's like
yeah. But then, I mean, we did have some fun and some drama with Big Country getting into that inside wall.
Yep. Highlight of my weekend.
That was great to watch that, just to watch him bang off. And I thought something was going to happen because watching it again, he took out he took out the 00, so he took out Sheldon Creed. And somebody else too, I think.
Thompson.
Yeah, and see, at first I thought it was Dean Thompson. I'm not a big fan of Dean Thompson.
Yeah.
I don't know if he should be in Xfinity. Let him prove me wrong. That's what I like to say. Prove me wrong. But yeah, that was pretty great. Pretty fun to watch.
Rookie mistake there.
Yeah, that was a real rookie mistake. I don't know how you just let it sit there. The thing that got me, though, that I didn't really care for is Ryan Sieg. He had to start from the back of the pack and he was trying to get in the garage for them to work on it, I think after tech or something like that. And the track tore his splitter up. Like, he didn't tear it up.
Yeah, I missed that.
Crew didn't tear it up.
Transition thing? Like, was there different pavement angles or something?
Looking at it, I think it was like that, blacktop to concrete when you're getting into the garage. Mm-hmm. And it just caught it and ripped it. And it sucks because it's out of your hand, but they're like, oh, sorry, It kind of, I don't know. I don't like the way NASCAR runs that. NASCAR had some more inconsistencies that we'll talk about later. But Almirola won the race on a last lap pass. So let's back step a little bit to this. Allgaier, I thought Allgaier was going to just run away with this. It seemed like your battle, and again, Phoenix is one of these races, in my opinion, that's just lackluster because it's like your top 3 or 4 compete for the race.
Yeah.
Everybody else doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much proved it again here because you had Almirola up there who won the race. Allgaier was up there. He was leading it. I thought he was going to win it. And then they had
had control of the race.
Yeah. I think he made a bad
decision. Worst thing that could happen was that restart.
Yeah, and he made a horrible decision on, I don't know if it was somebody didn't follow with him or I totally can't remember what it was. But it didn't work out for him. And it sucked because I thought he was going to win it.
Yeah.
And he probably would have won it if it wasn't, like you said, the last lap restart. So
he was controlling it for I forget. I mean, I don't remember the exact many of laps, but it was the whole tail end of the race was pretty much his race. It was just, he had control. And it was like, if this runs green, it's his race. And they even talked, I mean, it would lead into some of the tinfoil hats, but it was like, man, the worst thing that could happen to him is having someone wreck and make a caution here because his restarts just aren't the same. And sure enough, within 5 or 10 laps, there comes a caution. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it sucked. Let's see.
I feel like guys like him can't catch a break.
Yeah, no.
He reminds me of, situations like Parker Kligerman. That's like, they do everything. They work so hard, and they just can't catch a break.
Yeah, for sure. Allgaier, he led... his last lead was 56 laps. But, I mean, we're talking huge chunks. So, Bowman led the first 48 laps. Zilich came out and led a lap. He was doing pretty decent, too, until he got caught up. Almirola, 22. Got a couple jumping around. Bowman again, Allgaier, Almirola. I mean, Carson Quaffle, he did decent, too. I mean, that's another name a junior motorsports name that seemed to be pretty good. But just looking at the big chunks, 48 from Bowman to begin. Allgaier led 49 laps from lap 95 to 143. Allgaier again, 56 laps towards the end of the race. And then Bowman led part of a lap, and then Almirola led the last lap. And, it was Dawson Cram incident into turn 1. That was one of them. And then Nick Light's incident into turn 4 is what caused the final restart. And, that sucked. And then Bowman's crew was kind of complaining about him, about Almirola, thinking that he was, what was the right word? They thought they did him dirty.
Yeah.
Because of the way they were moving him. And it's like, no, he ran him clean.
It looked clean to me.
Yeah, I mean, they bumped off the side. I mean, it wasn't a Hocevar take Blaney out at Atlanta rear bumper type thing in a turn.
Yeah, it wasn't a clean out. It was maybe a hard racing move, but
yeah,
it wasn't what I would call dirty.
Let's see if I have.
And maybe my perspective's tinted a little bit because Almirola's been around for forever, so he understands the respect of NASCAR. It wasn't just like some 18-year-old that's just going in and banging around. He comes with a pretty long career in NASCAR, so it's not like he's got some respect that could go his way. That if he's going to race it pretty clean.
Well, even the TV crew was going with it too, and saying, because he kind of bumped him in the back and then went on, and the TV crew was like, "Oh yeah, that was clean. It wasn't dirty," and he just kind of moved him out of the way, and that's racing.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't Austin Dillon him and just plow through him and then to go get the win.
Yeah.
He bumped him, moved him out of the way. Now, I think Alex Bowman's just antsy because he hasn't been doing so hot recently.
Yeah. He's definitely the worst Hendrick car.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was tasting it at the end of that Xfinity
Has he ever been like a road course guy for Hendrick? Was he like one where they would like kind of rely on for road courses, or am I wrong with that?
No, that was, as far as I know, that was Elliott.
Okay.
I can't remember how Bowman got into it. I could be wrong. I don't remember how Bowman fully got into it because, you got Elliott with Dad, Larson just all-around racer kind of with 42, then moves in. Then you got Byron iRacing. I honestly, I don't know. I think Bowman was somebody that Dale Jr. picked specifically to take his spot.
Okay.
Which,
yeah,
I don't know. He's an interesting character watching him outside the race. We were there for a couple of his interviews, and all he talks about is his dogs, or he did at the time.
I know he always runs one of them pet,
Yeah, he does a lot for
cars.
the animal cell, and then I think he does stuff outside the track with animal shelters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's a plus. It's just other things that are, you're like, why is he still racing?
Yeah.
But I would pick him over Priest, and Priest has proven me wrong this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't. Anyway, that was a great, yeah.
Definitely
Thompson,
a very exciting last lap.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was at the TV watching it big time. Moving over into Cup Series. Well, before we get into that, so Kligerman's not going to be on the broadcast next week. Kyle Busch is taking over his spot. Kligerman's running a race. I can't remember what it fully is off the top of my head.
So Kyle Busch is commentating?
Yes. Kyle Busch is
like
going to
interviews,
commentate.
same thing Kligerman used to doing?
Well, not interviews on
like
his color, I guess, or analyst commentary, whatever they call it.
Okay. Yeah.
For CW.
Is this his first time doing that?
I think he's done it before.
Okay.
Back with Fox and the trucks.
Okay.
But he doesn't do it a lot.
Yeah.
So it's
that'll be fun.
It's a good thing there's not current drivers with him.
Yeah. Yeah, put him in. Yeah, lots of other people. That'll make it interesting.
Right. Yeah, right. Let's see where Kligerman's going to be racing this coming weekend. It was somewhere. I can't remember where it was. Sebring he's going to be running, it looks like. So he's running some type of, like, I guess, IMSA style race for at Sebring this weekend. So he will not be there at the CW race, which, I kind of like his commentary. I wish he'd race some more, but it's hard whenever NASCAR wants to take you out.
Yeah. Coming for you.
Yeah, so I mean that's the hard part for me is, and that got brought up. I think we might have talked about it last week, like when Briscoe had his thing going on. I can't remember who it was that stood up for, I think it might have been Denny, oddly enough, because it was a Joe Gibbs car. It's like you're so quick to go and to DQ the teams that don't have the money, but the teams that have the money, you'll fight for, you'll take it into consideration a little bit more.
Yeah.
And we saw the inconsistencies again with NASCAR on Sunday with Joey Logano earlier in the race, where it was, I guess flip a coin on if you want to call it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I saw it, the replays I saw, I wouldn't have called it against him. He got a start violation for going out of the lane before the start-finish line, but he was like over the start-finish. He was halfway over the start-finish line.
Right.
It's like,
yeah.
I mean, we're getting down to brass tacks, which I think is kind of silly on all that, on, causing that or saying that kind of stuff about it. But then, NASCAR got called out again because Catherine Legg, the road course driver, I was watching a video about on her. She drove the Delta Wing at a prototype race. It wasn't Le Mans, but it was one of those other ones where she ran the Nissan Delta Wing.
Mm.
And that was her, I think that was her most current experience.
Yeah.
And she goes out there, she spins out by herself,
yeah,
causing a caution. Then she goes out and spins out again, collecting Suarez.
Yeah.
And Suarez had it out. Now, he didn't blame her. His interview was, it was like, I don't blame her for the race. I blame NASCAR for their crappy, how do you say it?
Systems.
Yeah, their licensing systems and how they do it. Because, who was it? There was a guy that was trying to run the Daytona 500. And NASCAR is like, no, you can't do that. And it's like, but you let this woman who's never gone into a cup car, any cup car, stock car racing, and then you throw her in the next gen car, and she can race. Now, it's Phoenix. It's not a super speedway, but still,
Right.
You have a guy that used to run Cup Series.
Yeah.
And you're telling him no. I mean, is this... I don't want to get political about all that crap, but is this one of those things where they're trying to appeal to women in sports? Because if so, I mean, you had... I can't remember the woman's name in the 80s, 90s, 70s.
Yeah.
I can't remember that time frame. She went out and raced competitively. I mean, I hate to say it, but Danica was somewhat competitive.
Right.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
And then I think Hailie Deegan could have done a lot better if she would have had more mentorship.
Yeah.
I think coddling her like a baby like they did not help her. That
Because
team.
she did pretty good in the Cars Tour, right? Didn't she race some of that?
She ran, not the car, SRX.
Oh, SRX.
And she held her own in SRX.
Yeah.
And now she's in that lower level Indy car, not Indy Lights, but something like that. Or maybe it is Indy Lights. I don't know what she's done there. I think her dad posted something about how she needs more time to work on stuff. But still, I mean, she's trying it, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
She's definitely better on dirt and that kind of racing.
Yeah.
But I don't think she had I don't think she was fully given a good opportunity per se in the truck series. And then in Xfinity, they cut her season in half or something like that. So she didn't even have enough time to develop.
Yeah.
So it sucks. It sucks for that. And then you got people out, feels like they're out to get you. I think Danica talked about that when she used to race. Happened to Haley. Dean Thompson always tried to take her out. But Frankie Muniz also said that too. We talked about that last week. Frankie was talking about, nobody wants to give me the benefit of the doubt or respect for racing because they see me as just a famous person.
Yeah.
What if Dempsey, is it Patrick Dempsey? Is his name? What if he came out and ran? Are they going to treat him like crap too? The dude's ran in 6 or 7 Le Mans races in the GT Pro-Am and held his own. I mean, I think they got second one time. I don't know if they won it, but I'd like to see that guy go out and try to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think NASCAR drivers have to get out of their head on some stuff. And then last year, when we were at Martinsville, I still don't forget it. One of the most redneckest women was out there blaming Toyota for being in the sport, and it's all their fault. And Dodge needs to come back. Well, ma'am, you're getting your wish because Dodge is coming back, and I think 26 in the truck. I think they confirmed it. So
the only thing Toyota on those things is the sticker.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's not even the engines, because they don't even. And they were wondering. Some people were like, "Well, what does it take to get more people into sport?" You have to. Well, I think they got rid of some of the rules about the pushrod V8 and that kind of stuff. And then you got, who I think Junior was talking about, like some of them want hybrids. Let them run it if they can. In my opinion, if they can produce the same amount of horsepower, let them run it. Right. I wonder if that variety would help the sport instead of having just the V8s. Let them do that, which it was. We talked about this last week, and I saw it again. Formula One is looking to ditch the V6 hybrid systems and go back to V8s and V10s and stuff like that. Go back to muscle.
I'd be about it.
I think that's the best thing. I mean, the cars sound cool to an extent.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could watch a whole Formula E race and all the whining.
I hadn't even started one yet.
I mean, if I wanted to listen to it, I'd just listen to my kids with RC cars.
Yeah.
Ride around the kitchen.
The same thing.
Yeah. It's just one.
Turn on some Beethoven or something. Just listen to Beethoven covering the e-racing.
Yeah. It's pretty much all it sounds like. I mean, they're fast, but still. It's one of those things. It's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. The sound, so much of it. It's
yeah, for experience. Sure. For sure, yeah. Especially the new tones that they have with the Cup Series cars.
The dual exhaust.
Dual exhaust sounds pretty cool. I like it.
They've done a good job with the start of the races and really getting some like in-car startup, flicking the switches, and those things sound awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's like my favorite part. It's like the flyover and then start your engines and you hear all the V8s crackling. It's like, oh, that's awesome.
And the smell, when you pull up to a track, the smell of the tire and the smell of the exhaust is awesome. Now, with that being said, too, I have to give props to Max, and hopefully it continues, for their in-car cameras. And actually not having to pay like the $20 for the app. You can do everything through the Max app if you already have it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that.
It's good to have a little bit of competitive marketing going on.
Yeah, for sure. Trying to pull up the recap here of last weekend's race to get into the details. It was because we did talk about leg wrecking and so on.
See, I don't get why we shove Cup car guys down into trucks, but we bring these nobodies and put them into Cup.
Yeah, that's a very valid.
And I think honestly, it's got to be money. It's got to be, hey, look who's racing the truck series. Selling tickets, selling T-shirts, selling. Oh, Kyle Busch is running trucks at Vegas. Okay, no surprise there. You know what I mean? Obviously not this week, but it's like it's no surprise there when they kind of bring these ringers down. But then they throw these nobodies into the Cup cars, and it's like you're tainting the sport. Like,
right? Let
Cup be the top. Let them people ride in the Fridays and Saturday races.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people know who a Catherine Legg is either. Especially people that run NASCAR, or watch NASCAR, I should say.
Yeah.
She did finish 30th. She beat out SVG, Custer, Kozlowski, Haley, Briscoe, Hocevar, Hurst. Briscoe got a wild jump. He got pinched, and when I saw it, I thought of Ty Gibbs.
Yep. That's what I was just going to say.
At Bowman Gray, and then he did it again at Circuit of the Americas. It's like the same thing. What is it with Joe Gibbs cars? They think they're, Hot Wheels Monster Truck Tour.
That's right.
So
2 tickets for the price of 1.
Yeah, your kid's bored. Here, show him this.
Watch this NASCAR flying 4 feet through the air.
So yeah, that was that, and then the big talk of the time was the option tire. Option tire pretty much gave a whole new spin to the race.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot better than running one tire. I would have had the option tire, or you have to do just the option tire, the softest tire, let it wear out, or give them the options like they did. And I mean, it brought Ty Gibbs up. It brought Priest up, where they ran up. Priest led a lot of laps when he got his option tires going. Not Ty Gibbs, excuse me, Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon, I think he shot his shot with his tires a little too early. If he would have held on, he probably could have been up there easily. That was one of the things I noticed, because he was making it from last up there.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I mean, you could see what happens. Logano ran his stickies or softs for a while, and you could see that they were talking about how he was preserving them, and his experience was able to make them last longer. I think he did 60 laps on his. I think something like that.
I think something, yeah.
And they were like, they didn't really expect him to last that long, and they're saying how he can preserve a tire, like a veteran,
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of interesting to see when he started getting caught on lap times. And they're like, okay, well, his window's gone. He needs to get them things off,
Well, he ran them, I think, 20 laps longer than what they were expecting.
Yeah.
Because the tire fall, they were losing 1/10 of a second, I think, or something like that at like 40 laps in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, that was impressive for him, like you said, to go that long on him.
Because there were some other guys they were kind of making mention to, the actual tire quality after, 40 laps, 35, 40 laps, and they're having spots, it was delaminating and everything else. It's like
blistering.
Yeah, blistering and all that. It's like, okay, yeah. I mean, there's a lot too. They're all the same tire, so one driver can keep his together and another guy. I mean, I love that. Like, I like that it's not just a fuel race. It's, preserving your tires. And,
right.
Yeah, you might not be in first place the whole race, but you might be in 20th. But, hey, you threw on your option tire. You can get back up to the front, get a good pick. It's like strategy. There's more strategy than just who can last the longest on fuel.
Yeah, because and I think that's the annoying part about it is the Cup Series has turned into a fuel mileage race.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, oh, we're going to run 50% fuel. Also involved in that wreck with Briscoe was Haley and Hocevar. They were racing 4 wide with Briscoe and got caught up. I still think it's the Corey LaJoie curse on the 7 car. The way Spire did LaJoie wrong.
Couple different ways.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we move into it, and then we're moving into the next race here. I mean, excuse me. All I heard was, I think, I heard it from somebody else, and then you hear Harvick talk about it. Oh, we're gonna find out who's got the right cars now because we're moving in. I mean, they're admitting without admitting that most of these races are 1.5 miles and all that, and it's like, why don't we spice it up a little bit? But anyway, whose car is what, and what came out of the Cup Series race? Christopher Bell was able to move up to the front and win the race, third in a row. Yeah. There's only a few 6 drivers that have done 4 in a row. I was looking at.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see if he can do that at Vegas. But I think to Harvick's comment, nothing's changed from what we saw, from what I saw. Fords were up there running. Priest has been strong all season. He's surprising and impressing a lot of people. Hocevar has been up there. Hocevar qualified well. They're running well. And the Hendrick cars are a little bit of hit and miss.
Yeah.
Same thing with Penske. I think the thing that sucked was Blaney, who's been strong. He actually he had a streak snapped, like 3 streaks or something like that, for top 5s, top 10s, and something else.
Yeah. He had a really good record going into the race.
Yeah, and then engine blew on him, which sucks. But yeah, I mean, I don't think anything's changed from my view on nothing sticking out to me. So, like, something changed because we went to a mile and a half. I think what's impressive is, Priest is doing well. Christopher Bell's on the hot streak. See if he can keep it going through the playoffs. And then you have Hocevar doing well. And I don't know if Hocevar's is dumb luck or what it is yet, because he's up there and he's running.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got to have fast equipment.
Yeah, I think he's fast. I think he takes a lot of risk to put himself in positions to be race-winning positions. But, high risk for a high reward, but you can also risk a lot and not have any reward.
Right.
Because you're risking it a lot. So, I doubt he'll have a outstanding season altogether. I think he'll have some hot spots. I think he'll do well, especially for, the stature of his career. I think he's going to do really well this year because of the speed he's got. But when you're risking it and you're pushing and you're, pushing guys like Blaney in a corner on a super speedway,
right,
you're probably not going to finish every race. You're running too much risk.
Yeah.
So you're not going to make it. He might make playoffs, but I doubt he makes it past the top 12. So it'd be it's a good season for, like I said, for his career. I mean, it'll be impressive, but with his current racing dynamics, it's not gonna last forever.
Yeah, it won't last forever, especially if he's already apologizing to Rick Hendrick for not pushing the 5. What's it going to take for Hendrick to go to Spire and be like, you need to bring this kid under control because he's jeopardizing my team? And I've said it before. I sound like a broken record. Keep saying I say this stuff before, but it's like I made a comment on social media and they were talking about it with Hocevar. Like, oh, he was going to try to win the race. Like, no, yeah, but you saw it's like, if he had ECR engines, would he have still done the same stuff? Or is it because he has Hendrick? And somebody's like, well, they still got to buy him. Yeah, but Hendrick can choose not to do it if they don't want to. I mean, that's a lot of money, but still, you're still wrapped around Rick Hendrick's finger. So they had 10 cautions for 73 laps. Including the 78 spin. That was the first one that we talked about with leg. Then they had the 434, 41, 47 incident in the backstretch, end of the stage, and so on. Lead changes, they had 17 among 6 drivers. So Byron got the pole. And then Logano got out there. And then it bumped around, mostly Seabell, Byron, Cindric got into a little bit, Priest for that while, 236 to 269, so 30 some laps he ran. Hamlin got out there for a lap, but mostly the person that dominated the race won the race. Christopher Bell was out there for a while.
Yeah.
He led 105 laps.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great car.
Yeah.
Great driver. His chances of winning were some of the highest of anybody in the field.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you can actually pull off 3 in a row is
impressive.
Pretty impressive.
And then Denny, Denny, surprisingly, they race clean, but they're also teammates. But going based on what Denny said in the past, what Denny said in the past, I think teammates go out the window.
Yeah.
Then Cody Ware had one of his team actually blamed him for his car screwing up. That was interesting to watch. I didn't really pick up on the blaming of it, but they did. He was pulling out of his pits and he lost the tire in the pits. And then, so that caused that caution. But, I mean, there were quite a few wrecks. I mean, it is what it is. It's Phoenix. 1 mile paved, 312 laps, what they ran. Nothing, I don't think anything's sticking out too much more about that. We talked about Suarez blaming NASCAR, not leg, for it. Power steering issues apparently was a big thing.
Yeah.
It was a Chase Elliott had power steering issues. A lot of the drivers had power steering issues, and that's the big thing that's picking it up. And I commend Mike Joy for actually saying it, because he brought it up. He's like, this is a single sourced item, so you can't blame one manufacturer for this. Right. This is NASCAR.
Right.
Who's QA/QCing these parts? Because if they're doing their job, they're not doing a good job of it.
Right.
So, Fox, kudos for picking that up.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was this race or Coda, but someone was like ripping the wheel back and forth, and they're like, they might be trying to get air bubbles or something out of the power steering. And it's like that car was just like flopping back and forth.
Bubba blew a tire brake rotor on his car. He said it was, I think, the brake rotor gave out and then hit the wall. It looked like he hit the wall, then the brake rotor gave out. But that's one of those things. They saw that, 2 years ago when the car first came out? Rotors couldn't handle the high braking because of how large the brakes were. Mm-hmm. And then power steering has been an issue ever since. I don't remember a season where you wouldn't have a couple teams at a particular race having issues with power steering.
Right.
So this is nothing new for them. That's pretty much it. Bell finishes third straight win. Then we have the Suarez incident. Freddie Kraft came out and said this is going back to Circuit of the Americas and Cindric. He's like, a right door is a right door. To pretty much the effect of, we shouldn't be using speed to determine if we should fine somebody or not, or suspend them. Mm-hmm. I think it should be black or white. There shouldn't be any gray.
Right.
I mean, they do it now. What's the point? What's the difference between them doing it at a super speedway?
Right.
So, I kind of agree with them on that. On what's going on there. Again, it's NASCAR inconsistencies, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't know how they're going to fix it.
Yeah. I mean, just like think about anything else in the world, like 15 miles an hour over the speed limit on a back road and 15 miles an hour over the speed limit on interstate. It's still 15 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Right. Which, I mean, this also goes to some of the stuff that we talked about with throwing the caution. Is the intent, or it's the person that physically pushes the button. I thought about that earlier today because I was watching some of the Major League Baseball stuff that they're testing out in spring training. I think it's going to go into the majors fully this. I could be wrong. Fully this year for challenging balls and strikes. Mm-hmm. 2 challenges a team, but they're challenging it based on a little sliver of the ball catches the strike zone, and it's a strike. How do you expect an umpire with human eyes watching a ball coming in at 90 miles an hour roughly,
Right.
be able to figure that out.
Right.
I mean, there's got to be some kind of tolerance there. I think the same thing is if NASCAR came out and said, hey, you know, we're going to throw the caution, but if it's close, we'll go back to a camera, or do old school, just throw the caution and let them run to the end of the race, or to give a set point and let them run to that after the caution. Don't do it when the caution goes out, or if you do it when the caution goes out, I'm okay with that. Don't do it based on the intent. Oh, we were going to push the caution, but, you know, Johnny that's running the caution button spilled his you know, natty light, and he can't get to the button. So I think there needs to be consistency there. Is there going to be consistency there? I doubt it.
Yeah.
I don't. We saw it last year and we're seeing it this year.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed, in my opinion. I mean, I know we're only 4 races into this season, but still.
I feel like there's too many closed doors with NASCAR in general. There's just so much secrecy to everything.
Yeah.
There's no transparency to, like, this is what this is like, this is how it's done. It's just like, that's just how we just thought that's how we thought it should go.
It's very regulated too. You know, people get on, like, or they probably don't complain, but like Formula One is very closed door on that part, regulation wise, I think. NASCAR is the same way. Like, you and I can't go pick up a rule book to find the rules like you can with the, you know, car store maybe, or midget racing down the road, or football, baseball. You can't go pick one up.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the, I guess it's just called NASCAR data, but like that SMI style data, we can't pull that up anywhere.
Yeah.
I think they fearfully hide that because you're going to have every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there. And,
fact checking them.
Yeah. Oh, Jim Bob's going to be like, oh, I went and looked at that one, and, you know, he was sitting there, and look at his steering angle.
Yeah.
And then you have all these people that are running iRacing now, whether or not they do it competitively or if they're just, you know, goofing off. It's like, you got that issue too, where like, oh yeah, I went iRacing. I know everything about the sport now. It's like, I mean, iRacing's cool.
Yeah.
But it's different.
Yeah.
So
I just don't understand how a sport of such magnitude has to where they don't even know till halfway through the race at COTA whether there's a corner they can cut and not.
Yeah.
Like how do the teams, how do they not know the rules going into a race?
Yeah.
Everyone was scared. Everyone was scared to do it because they're like, oh, are we gonna be the first ones they penalize? Like, shouldn't that be more of an open conversation with at least the people in the race?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying the fans need to be a part of everything, but I mean, sure, some transparency of like, hey, everybody, here's the rules, and this is how we play by the rules. It's like this closed door thing that everyone just like, you know, there's enough events that happen week to week that everyone forgets about last week's events after a week or two.
Right.
And you just move on. But it's like all the things in the last 2 years that they've missed, and they just kind of just push it under the rug and keep on moving on.
I mean, you have a driver's meeting. Why isn't this stuff being talked about in driver's meeting?
Why even have a driver's meeting?
Yeah.
Why waste everyone's time?
Yeah. I mean,
what are you actually talking about at the driver's meeting if this isn't the things you're talking about?
Yeah. Because it
just seems like mismanaged.
Probably, I'd agree with that. It would be interesting. If
that's gonna come out, you know. Are they too distracted by lawsuits, or you know what's the deal? Like
lawsuits, they want their inclusion on different things.
So I don't know.
I mean, I think they're whatever they call that NASCAR, where they're trying to get more, like they go out to the inner city and do things, and then I think that's all cool. But are you trying too hard? I mean, a lot of this stuff will grow organically.
Yeah. And
it's like we're trying to push this stuff down everybody's throat, and it's not working. Same thing with like what you're saying. It's like why are we having drivers meeting? Are we doing that because it's historically what we've always done?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Pit road speeds, this and that. You know, John's going to be the one on the radio doing this. Jim's in the car, that's pace car lapping, you know, pacing you guys.
Hitting the sand buckets at the end of pit row.
I don't understand why you just don't take another lap around on that.
Well, you see people do it going down the road. They can't stand to miss their turn, so they just slam on the brakes in front of you and slam into the turn, you know. They can't go a quarter mile down the road and turn around somewhere safe, you know. Like, I got to make it right now.
It completely reminds me of that.
Such a Toyota Camry thing to do. Put some jersey tags on the back of it. Why don't you?
Jersey tags. New Yorkers just slam on their brakes to go look at the Amish.
They don't have turn signals. They don't need those.
Oh my gosh. I was complaining about some people today and this was a work truck. It's, you know, loaded down to the gills, so it's probably overloaded by itself. Couldn't turn to get off the road, and, you know, I'm trying to do 50 miles an hour, and they want to turn at 5.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, we can't be the only ones asking these questions. And if we are, then we need more publicity, because we're the ones bringing the question up. Now, I do know that, like, NASCAR got on door bumper clear because they were very critical of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they also work for NASCAR on the weekends.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. I was like, is it just this big monopoly, and everyone just, you're feeding the bear and the bear's feeding you, so you just kind of let things roll.
Right. Yeah, for sure. You know, when RFK Racing comes out and gives us our consumer cellular, Brad Keselowski looking wannabe Nextel cars, then we'll start, you know, hopping on the RFK bandwagon.
That's right. It's all money. Everything's money.
Yeah.
Follow the money.
Yeah, I mean, I some people like it. Speaking of money, I get tired of seeing Hendrick cars on the 5. Why can't we have a real sponsor? I mean, not saying Hendrick Cars is not a real sponsor, because it's a separate entity.
Just get a better looking paint scheme.
Yeah.
I'm tired of looking at it. I like Kyle Larson. I hate that paint. I hate that car.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of looking at it.
Yeah, it gets... They need something. I mean, maybe that's the fresh thing that's going on with Denny.
Unless they're trying to bury it and everyone's bringing like a Goodrich 3, you know?
Yeah.
Just trying to, hey, this is our car.
Well, I mean, because back when Goodrich, you know, when all that stuff was going on, you had one paint scheme.
Yeah.
You ran one.
Yeah, it was your sponsor.
Exactly. You may have a slight variation of that sponsor. Because look at Bill Elliott when he was in the 94 with McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
It was still McDonald's, and they had the nightlife McDonald's or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple different versions.
But it's not like, you know, today, like Denny Hamlin, I was just talking about him. He ran Yahoo, he ran Sport Clips, he ran National Debt Relief.
Yeah.
Only God knows what he's running this week, next weekend, and so on. He doesn't have his steady sponsor. I mean, Kyle Busch is the same way. He doesn't have one. The only one that's got a steady sponsor, it seems like, that's consistently on the car every race, is Larson. Then you have a few like a Briscoe and an Austin Dillon who have Bass Pro Shop. More like Briscoe has them almost every weekend, except for a few Reesers. Breasttree with Dillon. But yeah, we've got the long away get away from the single paint scheme. And I know spotters have talked about that. It's like, we're up there trying to spot and you can't even... What?
Yeah.
We go from being a purple car to a blue car.
They gotta do their homework.
Yeah. It's like you don't even know what color car you are until you show up to the track almost.
Unless you're in Menards, then you're in good shape. You can always find them.
Yeah, which makes sense on why Jimmy's car ran that fluorescent yellow on the roof. Yeah. You can easily pop that out.
Yep.
But then the Menards will get you confused too. Mm-hmm. Are you spotting for Cindric? Are you spotting for Blaney?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can't.
Well, Blaney's usually in the top 10. Cindric's usually should be pretty easy to figure out.
You hope, but look at what happened with Custer and his spotter at Daytona.
Yeah.
Spotting them for the 24.
Yep.
Your guy's in the wreck and you're sitting there all clear.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, what's going on?
Yeah.
More news coming out. This is Fox related. This isn't NASCAR related. But I don't even remember the guy's name. Some dude for NHRA called them out on TV. Like, what's going on here? You guys talking about commercials for the world's fastest motorsports. I didn't see my funny car on there. I didn't see that Top Fuel car on there.
Yeah, funny cars are about 80 mile an hour faster than Indy cars.
Yeah.
And Top Fuels are about 120 miles an hour faster than Indy cars.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. Some misinformation.
I thought it was hilarious. He's like, I didn't know this was fake news network or something like that. I'm like, oh, man, shots fired. Yeah. Holy moly.
Yeah.
But also I noticed, too, that I saw it. IndyCar sponsors are getting frustrated with Fox too, so they pay to be on the. I think they call theirs the Halo. I can't remember. No, the Halo is F1. Whatever IndyCar has, where they cover the block, almost like to make it like it looks like a Halo from Formula One, except for they have the windshield. They put sponsors on that, so you can see it when you run in the in-car camera.
Right.
Well, Fox decided that's where they're going to put their graphic for the car. Their speed, gear, etc., right there along the circle, semicircle, whatever. So all the sponsors like I just paid $20 million for this race to be there, and Fox, you're taking it away from me? I mean, Fox with their AI-generated people, instead of, they need to go back to just regular pictures like everybody else does.
Yeah.
Everybody would be happier.
Yeah. Your sports card photo.
You give Kyle Busch a 6-pack. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch doesn't have a 6-pack. He has a mini keg.
Yeah.
And he don't care.
He don't care about nothing.
No. It's fine.
You can see it.
Yeah. Like Priest. Priest is built more like a football player, yet you have him. Now, I know some football players, but he's built more like a lineman almost, a skinnier, smaller lineman than, a DK Metcalf, yet you have him looking like a DK Metcalf.
Well, they probably just make it that everyone starts out with a basic body type, and you had to pay more to get different upgrades to your body avatar. So if you have more money, you can make your body look better on the avatar. Something.
We need to go into that business.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Yeah. So, anything else?
My paint scheme of the week.
Paint schemes of the week.
I had two really close ones. I'll probably just keep it to Cup, because a lot of the trucks and Xfinity, some of them they're overlapping, and some of the sponsors overlap. So I'll probably just stick it with Cup. But I think Bubba Wallace's Air Force Stealth looks pretty sweet.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
but I think my winner, that's a really close runner-up second, but my winner is definitely going to be Cody Ware's Evel Knievel Parts Plus Ford. It's a cool-looking car.
That is pretty
especially
slick.
With the Rick Ware gold wheels.
Yeah.
It's really...
Air Force does some pretty slick paint schemes.
Yeah.
I really enjoy a lot of their different
It'd be hard to
schemes.
spot that car. It's all gray and black.
Yeah.
But... not my problem. I'm just a fan.
Right? And you're watching them on TV this weekend because we can't afford to go to... We need those podcast sponsorships so we can go out to the actual race.
That's right.
We can't afford to fly out to Vegas for the weekend, or so we'll be watching it on Fox, so you're not going to see the Bubba Wallace car anyway, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You're going to see a Kyle Larson, maybe a Christopher Bell, and whoever else
Kyle
is running.
Busch.
Maybe a Kyle Busch.
He's got a pretty good record, I think. I think that's like their hometown track, but I think he actually has a pretty good record.
Yeah.
I forget. I hate to put a stat out, but there's like 60 to 80% of the residents in Vegas are all transplants. They were not born there. It's all transients. Like it's everyone that lives there had moved there at some point in their life, like adult life. It's like no one's actually from Vegas. It's just everyone moves there.
Yeah. Let's look that up right now. Percentage of Vegas
residents, maybe, or something.
Native residents. See what pops up there. Oh, yeah, I don't want that. Popped up as Native Americans.
Oh boy, that's a different podcast.
Yeah, that's our one-winged eagle podcast. It's okay, I can say that. I have like 0.26. I have more than Elizabeth Warren does of Native American in me.
Some fun facts. Some other drivers with 4 or more wins in a row consecutive. Cale Yarborough in 1976. That was his championship year.
Okay.
Darrell Waltrip, 1981. Also a championship year. Dale Earnhardt, 1987. Championship year. Harry Gant, 1991. Bill Elliott, 1992.
Skull Bandit.
Mark Martin, 1993. Jeff Gordon, championship year, 1998. Jimmy Johnson, 2007, championship year. So
Okay.
those are all 4 wins consecutive.
So if you got an itch to gamble on NASCAR, might as well put it on Christopher Bell to win.
Yeah.
Granted, all those were pre-playoff, go to the championship race to win.
Yes.
So that's probably why they won it, because they accumulated so many points. So here you go. In Nevada, a significant portion of... okay, never mind. That's Oregon Trent. What?
We may have to follow up on this for next week.
Yeah, that's
Flashback episode.
It's kicking me now. Speaking of Harry Gant,
Speaking of.
NASCAR needs to allow... Okay, so we've had no problem with alcohol in the sport for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
We're slowly allowing these, like, grizzly I guess they're non-tobacco pouches. Why can't we have tobacco back? And I'm not saying we need, like, the Virginia Slims 60 car or whatnot.
Bring back the Winston Cup.
Yeah, or do that. What I'm thinking, I want to see the Skull Band. Like, if we're gonna go throwback, because we were talking about this, Austin Cindric's running a Dale Senior Wrangler number 2 throwback from when he ran that, and somebody ran a Skull Bandit type. Was that Corey? But you can't run the original sponsor because it's Skull.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one race. Let it look so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and you've seen some of the throwbacks, which we're getting close to our throwback weekend coming up.
Is that April?
Is
it the first visit to Darlington? We doing 2 there this year?
We're doing 2. Yeah, Richmond's the only one that lost the race. I think the Richmond race went to the Mexico race, which also the big thing. I don't know if you heard about that. The big rumors that aren't really true about Mexico.
Yeah.
Somebody put out a rumor that NASCAR was going to start getting ready to go to Daytona for the Daytona road course, because they weren't going to go to Mexico. Bob Pockrass came out. He's like, you have Formula One, you have IMSA, you have IndyCar. All these people go there. MLB, NFL, just started rattling off things. Mm-hmm. He's like, if it wasn't safe, then why are all these people going? Huh? And it's Bob Pockrass, the way he is. I'm not going to turn this into a Theo Vaughn podcast with the way he is, and say some things. But I mean, it's just like, I get how there could be a rumor because of tariffs, but at the same time, I mean, like, there was a guy freaking out at the kart show in Philly in Oaks, because he's like, "Oh, we've always gone to the Toronto kart, and it's in jeopardy now." The dude looked like freaking John Malkovich.
Jeez.
I mean, just like crazy. But he was legitimately scared of not being able to go to Toronto for this thing. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think tariffs are going to cause that big of an issue. I don't think there's any tariffs on trading cards.
I think there's a lot of unpublicized stuff that goes on. That's just what's in the headlines right now. This stuff happens every single day. You know what I mean? Obviously, It's a larger scale maybe, but there's tariffs and there's stuff that happens all the time that you don't ever hear about in the news.
Right. So I don't think it's going to scare NASCAR from going away to out to Mexico. Speaking of that, though, since we're on interesting fun factoid for tariffs, as I pull up the I was going to pull up the schedule, but
Throwback weekend is April 6th.
April 6th, okay.
Yep. First race at Darlington is
Why
Throwback
has it got to
weekend.
be the same weekend that I'm doing a photography shoot? I need to just road trip down to Darlington.
I love Throwback weekend.
I think we might have to road trip
I
to
made
Richmond.
it to Darlington once on accident. As funny as that may sound, being in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
We were in Atlanta for a trade show and misscheduled our weekend and had an open night on Saturday. And we're like, well, what else is going on? Oh, that's right. They're in Darlington. I wonder how far away. About a 4-hour car ride. So we went for the night race, and it was awesome.
That's
very cool.
Well, we have a mutual friend that his brother got tickets through where he works, and they went to Darlington 2 years ago.
Okay.
Last year ago. Cody Noon.
Okay.
That was their first race.
Was it the day race or the night race?
I think it was the day race.
Yeah.
Something to do with Goodyear, and they're working at a tire dealership.
Yeah.
But I think we might have to make a road trip to Richmond.
Yeah.
Airbnb it or something.
Yeah. It's not
Just
that far.
Leave
so
the
it's
wife
doable.
and leave the wives and the kids here, and just go.
Gotta be careful because my wife listens to this now, so I better talk to her before this gets out.
No, sorry, Jenny. No, it's already done, Jenny. We're done. We're
It's
going.
already booked.
You and Rebecca doesn't know about it, so we'll you guys can team up and do something.
Just keep the kids alive, right?
Yeah, keep the kids alive. I think my kids could help the wives take care of the other kids.
My crazy kids.
Yeah, so we're at Vegas this week. Next week, then following week we're at Miami, the new switch. I kind of like this idea of Miami being earlier to keep more of the warm weather to shy away from things. That's one of the big changes that we see coming up in the schedule. And then I think it's like the second week in June is when they go to Mexico, because it's weird. They go to Mexico, then they go to Pocono.
Yep.
So you got Homestead and Martinsville, which I would like to go back to Martinsville. Maybe see a real race instead of a Hendrick Motor Cars parade. Darlington, Bristol. Then you have Dega, Texas, Kansas, All-Star Race. I feel like the All-Star Race is a lot earlier this year than it normally is. That could just be me. Charlotte, that's one of my bucket list races right there. That Charlotte race, the Coke 600.
Yeah.
That's one of my bucket lists.
I would do that. I'm really not even interested in the Roval.
No,
I don't
like the Roval.
I don't care for it.
I mean, it was cool the first race. It was cool, and then Jimmy Johnson had to be a butthead. Yes, Jenny, I called it out. Jimmy Johnson was a butthead. Knocked out Truex when they could have both crossed. Truex would have won it. Jimmy would have got into the playoffs. And I'll tell Jimmy that too. He'd probably be like, "Yeah, you know what? I was a butthead for that race." Then you have Nashville, Michigan, which I know some people that have friends out in Michigan. That'd be kind of cool. The place we bought our camper is only like an hour away from Michigan International.
Okay.
The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, and then Pocono. Atlanta's June 28th. Chicago's that 4th of July race again. I think that was cool having it at Road America.
Yeah.
Might have to make the trip out to Dover since it's a short little jaunt. Then Indy. Still trying to get my connection with Indy. I actually gotta follow up with that person next week. I'll give them next week and I'll follow up with them. Then you got Iowa, Watkins Glen, Richmond, back at Daytona. I don't know. Did I ever tell you the story about Daytona, the Daytona night race?
Mm-mm.
Nathan and I almost went to that race because we could have gotten a hotel room, airline flight, and a rental car for $300
Wow.
for two people. This was COVID times.
Yeah.
So we could have, and we actually, I almost pulled the trigger on it for Nathan. It would have been fly in that day from Orlando, go to Daytona, watch the race, drive back to Orlando, sleep, get on a plane to go back to, come back up here.
Quick trip, a lot of travel, but bargain price.
Yeah. Yeah, the price of it. Richmond is August 16th. That's actually my dad's birthday. Daytona, let's see, we already said, okay, so we said Richmond, Daytona. Darlington, again, back to Worldwide Technology. Bristol Night Race is September 13th. That's going to be a chilly one, probably.
Yeah, it could be.
New Hampshire, that's one of the races it's on the wife's bucket list. She wants to go up to New Hampshire. Kansas, your favorite Roval. Then we go head out back to Vegas, Dega, Martinsville, then Phoenix for the last race. So
hopefully it's exciting on that day as it was this weekend.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, who knows? So to finish off the podcast, well, let's go ahead and do our picks, and then we have a special guest to finish off the podcast. So, who are you feeling? We'll just stick to Cup, I guess, because that one's easier. And I guess we can do Cup and Xfinity. I don't know. I'm not too confident in any truck picks. Who are you feeling for Vegas?
I don't know. I like the long shots. I never pick the ones that make sense. So I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch.
Yeah, let's see what their
odds and stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull that up on the Fanatics sportsbook.
Go Kyle Busch for Cup, and maybe a little bit more realistic for Xfinity. I'm gonna go with Austin Hill. He's gonna bounce back and come back strong after his fluke at Phoenix. He's gonna have a long week thinking about hitting the inside wall and bouncing.
See, I don't know. I could see. Allgaier going out there.
Yeah.
I like to see Zilich come out and do something, or maybe Quaffle. Kyle Busch is a plus 1750.
I don't really know sports betting. That's not.
I don't really know sports betting either, but a $5 bet will win you $92.50 is the total payout for that.
So not a great.
No, so the lower the number, if it's, I don't know how the minus works, but the lower the number, the less payout you get. So the better odds they have of winning. So we had Kyle Busch at 1750. Kyle Larson is your favorite at plus 350.
Okay.
Seabell's at plus 370. Reddick, then it jumps up to plus 570. Then Byron at 680. Denny Hamlin's plus 1,000. Your long shots plus 9,000, 90,000. Cody Ware wins the race. And you put a $5 bet down, your total payout's $4,500. $4,505.
Well, with that car, how good it looks, I think it might have a chance.
John Hunter Rekachek. He's up there too. What is he? $2,000 bet 5, get 2,000. He's at plus 40,000.
You can see how people get sucked into this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you pick, especially the long shots. Oh, like me, I have $21 of free play money right now. So, Fanatics, if you guys want to sponsor those little bitty podcasts, we're looking for sponsors if anybody hadn't figured that out. So we can do some cool things and not just, we can go places and talk about races and maybe get some significant people on. Still waiting on our consumer cellular RFK phones.
Flip phones.
Flip phones.
And that's important.
Those things are pretty fancy. I'd still rock the old Nextel, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr. style phones if they would work on the system.
My favorite phone still today is my Motorola Razr. I loved that thing.
Yeah, I've debated on getting the new Razr.
Yeah, I saw they were coming out with the newest one
with the Android stuff on it, but it's Android and I'm all Mac. So
it's a tough switch.
Very much so. But so let's go ahead and finish off the podcast with our special guest. Let's see if I can get this on pretty quick for you guys, and he will give you the race schedule for Cup Series here. So let's see if this will work.
Noah Gragson, we're racing at Las Vegas this weekend, and you're listening to the NASCAR Hotline. Press 1 for the Cup Series schedule. Press 2 for the Xfinity Series schedule. Press 3 for the Craftsman Truck Series schedule. Press 4 to find out which Cup drivers were friends growing up. Press 5 for a fast fun fact. Check those odds. We hit the track for practice and qualifying on Saturday, March 15th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Amazon Prime Video. Then it's time to roll the dice. The race is Sunday, March 16th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1. To hear that information again, press 1. To return to the main menu, press 2. Yo, it's Noah Gragson. We're racing at Las Vegas. Here's a fun fact. At Las Vegas Motor Speedway, we race down Nellis Straightaway on the backstretch. And just across the way from the racetrack is the actual Nellis Air Force Base. It's so sick seeing all the planes fly around. To hear that information again, press 1. To return to the main menu, press 2. Yo, it's Noah Gragson. We're racing at... Did you know I have 2 childhood racing friends in the Cup Series with me? Riley Herbst's number 35 car for 2311 and my front row motorsports teammate Zane Smith. Let me tell you a story about them. Riley, he used to play the saxophone back in middle school, and Zane Smith loved riding scooters as a kid. To hear that information again, press 1. To return to the main menu, press 2.
Loved riding scooters.
Yeah.
That was pretty wild.
That was nice of him to stop by.
Yes.
Podcast.
Yes. Pushing 1, 5, and 4 on the hotline. Oh, all right, everybody. We'll catch you next week. Have a great one.
Yep. See ya.